I'm Luminousz Star. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this live stream. And 2018 is approaching. Woohoo! I want to tell everybody, especially my stars, if you are sharing your stories, keep sharing your stories. That's something that's very important. You never know who you will inspire to thrive forward, and you don't know who's going to resonate with your stories. Anyway, all of you who are visiting Luminousz Star for the first time, welcome. And I certainly hope you will become a subscriber. Hit that subscription button below and become part of the Star family. All of my stars, especially, yes, you already know you're special to me. Happy New Year. Well, almost Happy New Year. And on that note, thank you so much for your subscription. Thank you for supporting me and inspiring me to keep this channel Luminousz Star active. Well, I want to talk to you all today or tonight, wherever you may be, just for a few moments, actually just for a little while. I did my little shopping today, and a little bit later on, I'll probably be cooking, but I wanted to take a little bit of time out, especially with my stars. I want to go ahead and talk to you about how important it is to grieve, especially during the holiday season. During wintertime, this is the time where we usually can, if we're not careful, we can start feeling depressed. We can start feeling that anxiety. Some of us are already dealing with panic attacks, and we're dealing with just being in an unhealthy relationship with the narcissist or the cluster B personality. So this holiday season, especially my stars, I want to go ahead and encourage you to take some time out for yourself and grieve. Now, we don't want to spend the whole holiday season being sad. I'm not for that. I want to encourage you just to take a little bit of time out for yourself, you know, for solitude, to get quiet and to start the stages of grieving. Now, you'll find in the description box below, when this video is uploaded, you will find references and resources. But if you want to follow along, just go ahead into the chat room and the link to the presentation is there. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you all today again about, you know, taking a little time out to grieve, because this can make you feel so much better. So that way you're not feeling sad all the time and you're not in a state of anxiety all the time. Because again, it's pretty tough to be in a relationship with a narcissist or the cluster B personality. The unhealthy relationship with the cluster B personality and narcissist is just not your typical, you know, it's not your typical unhealthy relationship. All right, again, I just hope everybody is enjoying their holidays, and I certainly wish you the best. Keep sharing your stories. You never know who's going to resonate, and you never know who you will be inspiring to thrive forward. All right, and on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and go over a few things with you. Again, the presentation link is in the chat room. All right. Allowing yourself to grieve during the holidays absolutely is the best gift to give yourself. Okay. All right. I'm going to be going over a few tools, and I'm going to go ahead and go over some points and a few topics. The first topic is taking your professional, not professional. We're not being professional too much today. I mean, I'll be a little professional today, but I really want you to enjoy your holiday. All right, the first topic is taking your personal experiences of narcissistic abuse more seriously. The second topic, narcissistic personality disorder and the DSM-5, the importance of a support base and finding options for your support is the final discussion. Okay, first point. It may be challenging to say that at least, you know, it may be challenging to say that at least to find any support matches. Okay, so you may be right now, you may be trying to find support that match your particular situation. Okay, now a lot of us are in relationships with cluster B personality or a narcissist right now. All right, my heart goes out to you. Right now, you're trying to find a match. As far as like finding support, it's pretty tough. So you want to make sure that when you're finding the support for your support base and whatever matches your particular situation, you want to make sure you match up with somebody who knows something about narcissism, and also they feel like they would be a good match for you. It's almost like dating. So when you're out there and you're trying to find a counselor, or maybe you will go with a life coach, anybody that you're trying to find, make sure that they are a match and they feel like a match. This is not going to be too easy. All right. But it's something that you want to start doing. So when you want to try to find something to start your support base with, first of all, I just want to suggest doing your own research. Okay, because there are some support out there, so-called support. They, unfortunately, it's false advertisement. They claim that they can support you, but they are not being able to support you, first of all, because it's false advertisement. Secondly, it's because they don't know anything about narcissism. They don't know what it's like to be in a situation or be in a relationship with a person who has a cluster B personality and a person who has a narcissistic personality. So this can be tough. So kind of treat it like, dating. You ask questions, you do a little research, and if it feels like a match, go ahead and go forward. But if it doesn't feel like a match, then that's a hint that that particular counselor or that particular source is not going to be a great match for you to build your support base with. Okay. All right. There may be some who do not take painful experiences that you had in a relationship with a narcissist very seriously for a number of reasons. Just like I said, some people that you may reach out to, unfortunately, they're not going to really know what it's like. They're not going to have that personal experience with being in a relationship with a cluster B personality or someone who has a narcissistic personality. All right. So that's something else we want to watch out for. This does not mean that you are to disregard yourself. You are the only one that you can, that you can be, right? You're the best person that's going to be you. Okay. So when you factor that in with the experiences that you have had with the cluster B personality and the narcissist, then when you start looking for someone to team up with to build your support base, that's something else you want to keep in mind. Everybody's not going to really understand or resonate with what you've gone through by having an unhealthy relationship with the narcissist. So we want to keep that in mind. All right. Your experiences in life do not define you. However, they do help you to learn valuable lessons that promote your personal growth. The narcissist has vowed not to only love, but has resisted personal growth. So the narcissist has not only vowed, not to love. The narcissist has vowed not to love. But not only that, he or she, they have vowed not to grow personally. They're not going to see these individuals, the cluster B personality and the narcissist. They usually lack foresight. So they don't tend to learn from their mistakes. So one of the other things that's going to happen in the relationship with him or her is going to be a lot of tension, because you probably are the individual who, you look at some of your mistakes and say, that was a mistake. And this is what I learned from that mistake. The narcissist and the cluster B personality, they don't do that. So this is another reason for tension in the relationship with those who have a cluster B personality and those who have a narcissistic personality. And again, we want to keep in mind that one of the reasons why it's so difficult to have relationships with individuals who have a narcissistic personality or a cluster B personality is because he or she has shut certain aspects of themselves down, whereas they're not able to grow with anyone else in the relationship. They're not able to empathize or sympathize, for that matter. I mean, well, sometimes they can sympathize, but really narcissists and cluster B personalities, they tend to not be able to empathize with others. They're not really able to see your point of view. So it's very tough for him or her to actually have enough feeling for others to grow in the relationship with others. All right. So it's usually a lot of tension in the relationship. So, all right, let's move forward. Okay. Becoming comfortable in the unhealthy relationship with the narcissist and cluster B personality is very easy to do. Actually, I meant to say becoming uncomfortable because it's not very comfortable in the relationship with the narcissist and the cluster B personality. But okay, let's move on. He or she tends to not he or she tends to be hot 1 second and cold the next. So they tend to flip-flop a lot. The narcissist and the cluster B personality, they're predictable in other ways, but when it comes to their emotions, they don't regulate emotionally. They have a hard time doing that. So they tend to be very moody, or they tend to flip-flop a lot. 1 second they're hot, the next they're cold. Okay, let's move on. The narcissist and the cluster B personality is very cunning when it comes to emotional manipulation. And they are. He or she can be cutthroat when their false self-image is perceived as threatened by others, whether these threats are intentional or not. So yeah, when the cluster B personality perceives a threat, he or she can be cutthroat. Okay, they may feel like they're backed into a corner. So this is a time that we want to keep in mind not to, how can I say it? Not to push their buttons to the point where we may regret it. This is not to give him or her more power. This is just to say you want to be, you want to use discretion, especially when the narcissist or the cluster B personality perceives threats. And this, unfortunately, is very often. You can say something and they may perceive it as a threat. You may do something that he or she finds distasteful or disrespectful, and you don't even know you did it. You don't really know how they're going to react. Narcissists and cluster B personalities, they tend to react, or they tend to be reactionary. They don't do a lot of responding very well because they don't like to take responsibility for what they do. All right, so let's move forward. Due to being groomed to behave codependently during childhood, he or she has a strong desire to be loved and to connect to others. Unfortunately, the narcissist used this human nature against him or her. So to us, or those who don't have a cluster B personality or a narcissistic personality, it comes naturally to want to connect to others. To the narcissist and the cluster B personality, that's not natural to him or her because they have detached from that part of themselves that can feel empathy for others and that can feel love for others. So remember, the narcissist and the cluster B personality, they have vowed not to love. That means you, me, anybody else that you can think of. They're not going to love other people. They took that vow a long time ago, and it's highly unlikely that it's going to change. So the narcissist and the cluster B personality, yeah, they are very cunning when it comes to emotional manipulation. So due to being groomed and behaving, pardon me, wait, let me go back. I think I skipped. Okay, due to being groomed to behave codependently during childhood, he or she has a strong desire to be loved and to connect to others. Unfortunately, the narcissist uses this human nature against him or her. If one is not careful, he or she may spend a lot of time and effort attempting to figure the narcissist out with all of their shenanigans, drama, and tactics for source supply. This can become very draining. Yeah, this is often why when we deal with the cluster B personality and or narcissist, we feel very drained. This is because he or she is tapping into your energy field. That goes on for a long period of time because you may have been in a relationship with a narcissist for years. Can you imagine being in a relationship with a narcissist and cluster B personality for years and being able to see how your energy body has been affected? A lot of us cannot see this, of course, but we feel it. This is often why we feel drained when we're dealing with the cluster B personality and a narcissist, because when you factor in all of the shenanigans, all of those the taxes for source of supply. It's like, what can you do? It's draining. And then you don't even want to deal with him or her for a while. But when the narcissist and cluster B personality is somebody that you're in a relationship with a lot, then you're going to interact with him or her on a regular basis. So it's going to be very tough to get that break. It's going to be very tough to be able to get away from him or her. Okay, let's move forward. Next point. It's common knowledge that those who have a narcissistic personality are people who lack empathy for others, but it's deeper than that. Unfortunately, narcissistic personality and cluster B personality are the least recognized personality disorders, which are officially featured in the DSM-3 since 1980. So since 1980, this is when narcissistic abuse first was officially seen as a diagnosis criteria. In other words, it's in the DSM-5, pardon me, it's in the DSM-3. That's when it was in there. This was back in 1980. Right now, it's in the DSM-5. But the diagnosis criteria for personality disorders has not changed. So since 1980 until the present moment, in the DSM, there is the personality disorders, and they are still there. However, and I'll get to this in a moment, the narcissistic personality disorder, the diagnosis criteria, it was revised in June of 2011. So going back to 1980, this is when the narcissistic personality disorder was first officially a diagnosis criteria. And that was in the DSM number 3, okay? Or edition number 3. All right, let's move forward. Narcissistic personality disorder is a diagnosis criteria which has been featured in the DSM-5. However, it was revised in June 2011. The DSM-5 personality disorder diagnosis criteria has not been changed as of present date. Narcissistic personality disorder continues to be seen as a condition of a personality disorder, i.e. cluster B personality. Now, I say this in some of my videos, how every narcissistic personality that you may meet has a cluster B personality. Okay, every last one of them. However, every cluster B personality person that you may know does not necessarily have a narcissistic personality. Okay, so this is one of the reasons for that is because the narcissistic personality is part of the condition of a cluster B personality. The cluster B personality has so many other aspects to it, but one of the aspects to the cluster B personality is a narcissistic personality. Okay, all right, let's see here. I want to make sure that I doesn't, let's see, I don't want to skip anything. All right, mentalization-based therapy and transference psychotherapy are suggestions which are currently available to treat narcissistic personality disorders. Okay, so there are two, actually there's 3, but I've only mentioned 2 in this presentation. These are to treat narcissistic personality disorders. However, there's not enough data on how effective these treatments are. So right now, there's not enough data to say, okay, this is what's going to treat narcissistic personality disorder. There's just not enough data out there. Because really right now, when you look at it, there's a lot of mental health care professionals who are still at a loss, okay? And this is not to say anything against the mental health care profession. However, the research has been done, the data, the information is out there. It's still a big question mark as to how to treat narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, so it's simply not enough information out there. As of today, there are a few treatments that are available to attempt to treat narcissistic personality disorder. And there's not enough information to say if it's very effective or not. All right. So mentalization-based therapy and transference psychotherapy are two of the treatments right now that are being used to treat narcissistic personality disorder. But as I just stated, there's just not enough data out there to really say for certain that these treatments are very effective. But for those of us who are personally in relationships with him or her, yeah, we pretty much can see up close and personal if those treatments are very effective or not. All right, let's move forward. What causes one to develop a narcissistic personality has yet to be discovered and remains a mystery to the mental health care profession. Environment, genetics, and biological factors have been theorized or hypothesized. Those who show behavioral patterns of narcissistic personality and cluster B personality cannot be diagnosed by psychotherapists as patients who typically behave neurotically or who are psychotic. So basically, even if someone that you know went to a mental health care professional and they have a cluster B personality or they have a narcissistic personality, technically, well, probably according to the DSM-5, I'm certain that's probably what it is, because the DSM-5 have a diagnosis criteria for cluster B personality. Okay, so having said that, say someone that you know has a cluster B personality, they go to a mental health care professional. Technically, they cannot be diagnosed with being a person who is psychotic or neurotic. They cannot technically be diagnosed. Okay, so that's why it's a little bit murky, you know, and this is also why it's pretty difficult for there to be an effective treatment for narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, this is one of the reasons why, because technically, according to the DSM-5, the diagnosis criterion in the DSM-5, when it comes to cluster B personalities and narcissistic personalities, technically he or she cannot be diagnosed with being neurotic or psychotic. They really cannot diagnose them with that. Okay, so that's kind of a bummer. Okay, it's kind of unfortunate, especially for those of us who have a personal relationship with the cluster B personality and or the narcissist, and we really would like them to get some help. Okay, let's move forward. I'm going to go over just a few definitions with you. First, one I want to go over is mentalization, or better, mentalizing. Okay, here's the definition for mentalization. It's a process by which we make sense of each other and ourselves. Implicity and explicitity. Pardon me. No, I think I said that wrong. Yep, sip my water. And explicitity in terms of subjective states and mental processes. Anyway, everybody, the link is in the chat room if you want to follow along with this presentation. Okay, you might want to go back and read this at a later time. Okay, mentalization refers to the ability to reflect upon and to understand one's state of mind, to have insight into what one is feeling and why. Mentalization is assumed to be an important coping skill that is necessary for effective emotional regulation. Difficulties with emotional regulation are one of the 4 primary characteristics of all personality disorders. So when we think about the narcissistic personality disorder and the cluster B personality disorder, this gives us a clue as to why these individuals tend to be very difficult to get along with in our personal relationships, because it just stated the emotional regulation is something that is highlightable when it comes to personality disorders. The emotional regulation. A person who lacks emotional regulation is a person who is not able to, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they're not able to regulate emotionally, meaning they don't know how to sustain their own emotions or their energy bodies in order to maintain or sustain. Okay, they need to go out and plug into the energy fields of others or the energy bodies of others. This is why we feel drained, especially when we're dealing with the cluster personality and the narcissist, because they don't know how to emotionally regulate. Therefore, they need others to help them to feel better or to give them a boost because they lack energy. Emotion is energy in motion. So when the cluster personality and the narcissist, when they lack that ability to emotionally regulate, this is another great way to see that they lack energy as well. This is why they tap into the energy fields of others, especially others who do know how to emotionally regulate. So again, I'll just go over or reiterate the fact that difficulties with emotional regulation is one of the keys or one of the highlights of a person who has a personality disorder. Okay. And again, this is one of the reasons why it's so difficult to have a relationship, especially a healthy relationship with a cluster personality or someone that has a narcissistic personality. Finding options for support to deal constructively with the effects of narcissistic abuse is important, especially if one is contemplating going no contact. There are mentors, life coaches, and practitioners who may be able to support you in working your strong support base in order to heal and thrive forward past narcissistic abuse. So basically, when a person is contemplating going no contact, this is very important to get that support base. Is it easy? No, but it's probably going to prove to be a game changer. This is not something to try to go through alone. Take it from me. Okay, I tried this years ago. I tried to do this alone. It did not work. That support base is needed. Okay, so especially if you're going no contact, or right now you're contemplating going no contact, this is one of the things I really want you to keep in mind, and that is to watch out, especially for those people out here who are giving false advertisements that they can support you in your efforts to thrive past narcissistic abuse. There's false advertisements out there, so watch out for that. Okay, I wouldn't want you to end up, trusting someone and find out later that they're not trustworthy. So especially if you're getting ready to go to no contact, or you're contemplating right now, or maybe you've gone no contact. This is very important. Make sure you get your support base in order. This is really for you. And after all, you're going to be navigating your support base. And matter of fact, I want to encourage you, especially my stars, make this a priority. You've already gone through a lot. When you think about all of the things that you've gone through because you have been in a relationship with a narcissist or the cluster personality, yeah, that right there, I should hope, would encourage you to make sure you make your healing a priority. You've already gone through enough. You've already gone through a lot of things, and you're standing, you're here, you're about to celebrate 2018. So right there, I hope that gives you enough boost in your confidence to go ahead and place your healing as a priority. All right, because when you think about it, the narcissists, they're not going to support you. They're really not going to be there to support you because their false self-image is what they are loyal to. All right, so let's move on. Okay, and I want to mention something else too. I know a lot of people right now are looking for the support. There seems to be not a lot of support out there for people who have gone through narcissistic abuse. And there are several reasons for that. So I'm not debating that. I will say this: for those individuals who have been in a relationship with those who have a narcissistic personality or cluster personality, Again, this is not your typical unhealthy relationship. And that's due to all of the tactics for source supply that the narcissist or the cluster B personality uses. This is not your typical unhealthy relationship. So there's a lot of complexities there. There's a lot of things that are very complex. So when we go out and we're trying to find that support, that's something I want to encourage you all to keep in mind. So it's not a one size fits all. The healing process is going to take time. Okay? So when we're looking for that support base, more than likely, it's not going to be one person that can provide us all of the support that we need. Now, I'm not saying that to, make somebody feel discouraged. I'm just giving you the forewarning. More than likely, it's not just going to be one person that can provide you all of the support. I will say this, at least one of those individuals in your support base ought to be somebody who knows about narcissism and know about narcissistic abuse, and who has probably had some personal experience with it. Now, I want to go ahead and mention this person can be a mentor. This person can be a life coach. They don't necessarily have to be a practitioner or a counselor in the mental health care profession. Don't exclude those, though. Do not exclude those. I just want to say, because of how complex it is to be in a relationship with those who have a cluster B personality and those who have a narcissistic personality, more than likely your support base will not consist of the people who are. You may want to look for alternative measures, is what I'm saying. You may want to look for alternative support, not just the traditional support, like a mental health care practitioner or a mental health care professional. Don't exclude them, though. I just want you to know that it's probably not just going to be that route. You might want to look for somebody who's a mentor or who's a life coach and who probably has some personal experience in that area. Okay. Instead of just traditionally looking for somebody who is just a counselor, a mental health care counselor. They can help to a certain extent. However, one of the questions you probably want to keep in mind is, does this person have any personal experience? Do they know anyone who has been in a relationship with a narcissist or a cluster B personality? Because, let's face it, not everybody has had that experience. Certainly not everybody who's a counselor or a mental health care practitioner. Not everybody has had that experience. But there are life coaches who have had that experience. There are some mentors who have had that experience. There's also some clergymen or clergy women who've had that experience. So when we look for people to join us in our support base, that's something to keep in mind. That's what you want to look for. Okay. And again, this is just a suggestion, because I already know how tough it is to find the support for someone who has been in an unhealthy relationship with a narcissist or a cluster B personality. Okay. All right. Let's move forward. You must be willing to become active in building your own support base while doing your own research on topics of narcissism, childhood trauma, and dysfunctional behavior. All right. And matter of fact, I want to throw in there dysfunctional relationships, dysfunctional families. You want to make sure that you team up with somebody who has had some personal experience in that. And also they have a lot of expertise in that. Okay. Because a lot of people, they can go out here and they can read books. And I want to encourage that. Do your own research. But when it comes to building your support base, you may want to team up with individuals who have a license, okay, to counsel. You want to look for people who may have a personal experience as well with dealing with narcissistic abuse. And there are licensed healthcare professionals out there who fit that description. But you have to be willing to do your own research. You have to be up for it. This is why I mentioned placing your health, your overall health actually, as a priority, especially in 2018. Okay? Just think about everything that you've gone through and the fact that you're still here. That's something to celebrate right there. All right, let's move forward. These issues are very complex, yet possible to sort out and sort through in order to live a fulfilling life. No one is perfect, so do not expect miracles. Expect satisfying results while maintaining your support base. Okay, so don't expect miracles, but do expect you want to expect the results. Okay, satisfying results. Because another thing that some of us end up doing is we end up putting time and effort, and then we feel like we've wasted our time. Okay, and then we're feeling sad or angry. Okay, so this is something that is very common when we're trying to find the support. But I don't want to encourage anyone. I don't want to discourage anyone. I want to encourage everyone to still place your overall health and well-being as a priority. Make you a priority. Invest in yourself for a change. The narcissist is only loyal to their false self-image. That means that they will do all of the shenanigans and they will do all of their, the source supply tactics in order to feed that false self-image and to keep it relevant. Okay, and this is at everybody's expense. So try to keep that in mind. The narcissist, they're not going to make you priority. So for a change, and especially in this 2018, I want to encourage my stars, especially to make you a priority. You want to make sure that you're okay. All right, because a narcissist, they're not going to care less. Okay, so expect satisfying results. You don't want to expect miracles, because then you're going to set yourself up. And then you're going to feel badly if things don't work out exactly the way that you want them to. Okay, so just expect the results. Don't expect the miracles. All right. Okay. Dealing with various health issues is a common theme when one is dealing with the aftermath of narcissistic abuse. Unhealthy relationships with narcissists are not your typical unhealthy relationships. Therefore, finding people who will fit your support base could be a real game changer. Yeah, just like I mentioned before, you want to find somebody and again, it's like dating. You want to find somebody who's going to be a match, because as soon as you start, sharing all of your intimate details of your life, you don't want that to be with someone who, first of all, doesn't understand what you've gone through. They don't even get it. And unfortunately, there are people out there who claim to be able to support, but they're not able to support because they don't really know what you've gone through. They don't understand. They don't resonate with it. So kind of treat it like, dating, when you're out there looking for the support, and be willing to do your own research. That's something that I highly encourage. Some people, I get it. It may seem a little bit overwhelming to do the research, but you got to think about yourself. So be willing to do your own research. It's nothing wrong with that, because really at the end of the day, especially when you're sharing intimate details with somebody such as a counselor or a clergyman or even a life coach, when you're sharing those intimate aspects of your life and yourself with that person, you want to be able to trust them, okay? Because you don't want that to be with somebody who doesn't get it. And some of you have already experienced that, okay? I know I have. There's a couple of times I can think of, I've experienced that, whereas I didn't really feel like it was a great match, okay? And so I had to go back to the drawing board. So this is why I'm talking to you about this, because this is something that is very important to a lot of you. You're looking for the support. Some of you are already, you're already feeling discouraged, and I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to know that the support is available. First of all, you just gotta have to be willing to place your health priority. Think about it. If you don't make your own health a priority, say, I can't even say it right. If you don't make your health a priority, you're not going to be able to get anybody else to support you anyway, because they're not going to care. If they don't think you care, they're not going to care. And that's just real life. Okay. So you want to make sure that you place your overall well-being as a priority. You want to make sure that you're okay. When you think about what you're going through right now with the narcissist or the cluster personality, that already is weighing on you. That already is a toll. So you don't want to bring in 2018 feeling sad and blue and being anxious and being depressed all the time. You want to think about what's best for you. You want to think about how you're going to be able to continue to thrive forward. Try to visualize your life without the narcissist. That worked for me years ago. Okay? Just visualize it and even write it down. And when we are feeling sad, sometimes loneliness will come in. Okay? So I get it. So when you're feeling that way, the last thing you're going to want to do is to be around anyone who doesn't get what you're going through, because that kind of makes you feel even worse. So this doesn't exclude a counselor or a mentor or a life coach. You want to make sure you team up with somebody who really gets it. Okay? All right, let's move forward. All right, so right now I'm going to go over just a few tools with you. And again, you're going to find this in the chat room, the link to the presentation. And also when this video is posted, you can find it in the description box below. All right, tool number 1, become committed to your own healing process and make thriving forward a part of your lifestyle. Absolutely. Making healing a part of your lifestyle. Now, this doesn't mean that you're supposed to look at this as something that you have to deal with for the rest of your life, because that's kind of depressing. In other words, what I mean is that you don't want to look at, every time you turn around, there's something to deal with that is in relation to the narcissist. You don't want to look at it that way. I hope you don't. So when you make your healing process a part of your lifestyle, it looks something like this. You go to the gym. You go and you take a class. Okay, any type of class you can think of, something you've always wanted to learn. This is part of your healing process. You start meeting other people. You start going to more social events. You take baby steps. Pace yourself. You don't want to just jump out there and well, some of you probably want to do that and that's okay. But when I say look at your healing process as a part of your lifestyle, that's what I mean. You're starting to breathe more deeply. You're starting to feel more comfortable in your own skin. You're not looking over your shoulders all the time. You're not mousing around your life all the time, because then you're not healing. You're just coping. So when you're just coping, again, you're not healing, and therefore you're not really thriving forward. See, the key to thriving forward is the healing process, not the coping strategies. Anybody can have a coping strategy, because some of the coping strategies or the coping skills are not very constructive anyway, and it's called self-medication. Okay, so when a person is looking at their life and they're like, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that, and they're thriving forward, that is part of the healing process, because they're allowing themselves to not only grieve, but they're allowing themselves to try new things, to put themselves out there so they can meet people that they will find trustworthy. A lot of us are afraid to even take the first step. Now that's just real talk. And I understand it. Considering what you've gone through already by being in the relationship with the cluster personality and the narcissist, of course, there's going to be a guard up. There's going to be the walls up. It's going to be very intimidating, even to put yourself in a position or in an environment where you can possibly meet other people that you resonate with. It is tough, but this is what the narcissist wants you to continue to do. And that is to be too afraid to take that first step. The narcissist wants you all to his or herself so they can continue to tap into your energy field. So if you're not giving yourself that permission to grieve, yet alone to give, put yourself out there where you can meet other people that you can possibly resonate with, well, then that's not really healing. So that's not really thriving forward. But I just, again, want to encourage, especially my stars, to take that first step, okay, to allow yourself to grieve. Take a little time out. Now, when I say allow yourself to grieve, I don't mean, drowning in your bottle and just, walking around in your robe all day long and just, your head hanging down and you're sad all the time. Now, some of us, we have those moments, yes. But what I'm saying is you don't want to do that a lot. So when you're grieving, you're going to go through the emotions. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Allow yourself that gift, because grieving is a gift. Again, think about what you've gone through. I don't know everything you've gone through, but I do know this. If you were in a relationship with a narcissist or the cluster personality, you went through quite an ordeal and then some. I do know that. So give yourself the gift of grieving this holiday season going on into 2018. Okay? And make your healing process a part of your lifestyle. Take those steps. I hope you think you're worth it. Okay? Because there are people out here that will resonate with you, but you won't know that until you try. All right. So let's move on to the next tool. Allow yourself to grieve. Okay. I just was talking about that. So you want to go ahead and take those steps to grieve. Grieving has several stages. I've done a few videos on that. Okay. And I'll put that in the description box below as well. But there are stages to grief. Some of us are very afraid of anger. That's one of the stages of grief. You have to permit yourself. You don't have to, but I want to encourage you to permit yourself in a safe environment to feel your emotions. Okay, this is the part of the human experience. A lot of us are afraid of anger, whether it's directed towards us from somebody else or we're the ones that's feeling it and we are expressing it. Some people think they're going to lose control. Once they start to feel that anger, they think they're going to lose control. That's not necessarily true. This is also why it's imperative, or it's very important, to have a support base. You want that safety. You want to feel emotionally safe with somebody in your emotional, you want to feel that emotional safety. Okay. And the reason why that is because when you were in a relationship with the cluster personality, you didn't have that. When you were in a relationship with a narcissist, you didn't have that emotional safety because that person, they were exploiting your emotions. Okay. So every time you expressed your emotions, the cluster personality, they got busy with exploiting the emotions that you were feeling because they're tapping into your energy field. So they can eat, so they can feed, so they can keep their false self-image relevant and big and strong. Okay. As you get weaker and your energy, you're just feeling very drained of energy. Your energy body, your energy field has been tapped into. So there's an aftermath to that. So you're not going to feel very emotionally safe. I get it. So when you are working your support base, you want to make sure that you are teaming up with individuals that you feel emotionally safe with. That's very important. Now, there's a book called, let's see, let me make sure I get it right. I'm going to put that in the description box below as well. And I am making another book reference, okay? Because I've been making some of these references to books I've been reading lately. Let's see, Terrifying Transference. I think that's the name of the book. But I had mentioned this book about a couple of months ago. I'm still reading it right now. Okay, so I take a little time out and I'll read that book. It is excellent. It's an excellent book. It's called Terrifying Transference. It talks about how those who have been traumatized, they go to particular therapists or counselors, and there's a big wall. And the book goes into depth and detail of how that comes about. Why is it so tough for those who have been traumatized to talk to a therapist, to talk to a counselor? Why is there the big wall up? Why is the great gulf fixed? Why is that distance there? Because the person who has been traumatized, first of all, they haven't been emotionally safe in their most intimate relationships. It's a great book to read because it also breaks down some of the things that you can do for yourself to help yourself. So if you do go to a counselor, you can communicate or give a cohesive narrative of some of the things you've gone through or some of your experiences from having been traumatized. It's a great book. I'll put it in the description box below when I post up the video. It's called Terrifying Transference. All right. So you do want to allow yourself to grieve. You do want to make sure that when it comes to certain emotions that are unpleasant, like anger, you don't want to shy away from it too much. You want to give yourself permission to grieve. That means all of the stages of grieving. You got to be willing to go through them. Is it going to be easy? No. Okay, it's not going to be easy. However, it's going to be very well worth it. You have to just pace yourself. This is not a contest. Your healing is not a contest. And it's not a one size fits all. What works for me may not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. So this is why I often talk about drawing up the blueprint when it comes to your support base. Because some people just jump right out there and they start with the support. They go see a counselor, they go see a therapist. And I understand that. However, they didn't take the time out to draw up that blueprint and get the support base started that way. They didn't draw up that blueprint. The blueprint is when you look at yourself and say, okay, where am I in my healing right now? Am I just coping, or am I really healing and thriving forward? Okay, so again, when you draw up that blueprint, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at where are you right now in your healing? Where are you right now in your life? Because everyone is not going to be able to go through the same methods of healing as someone else. Okay, so it's quite different. All right, so when you look at the blueprint, one of the things you're looking at is, okay, what can I handle right now? Okay, so you're drawing up that blueprint and you're looking at where you are and you're like, okay, what can I handle right now? What can I not handle right now? And when you see that, you incorporate that into the support base, and then you start to work it. Because this is how that looks. You go to a counselor, or you go to a clergyman, or you go to a life coach, or you go to a mentor, right? Or you go to a support group, and it's not a match. It doesn't fit because you don't really know where you are right now. Okay, so you don't know. It's like, all right, if you go out to a crowd, all right, and you feel anxiety, you're out in a public place and you feel very uncomfortable. And this is something you have to consider, especially if you're talking about going to a support group. Say, for instance, if you are a person that you have, you've worked up to the capacity of being able to go out in public more often. So you're not feeling panicked if there's a larger crowd. So you probably can go to a support base of maybe 20 people or 30 people, and you'll feel okay. But take someone who hasn't built up to that capacity. They're still having panic attacks. Okay, they can't deal with the crowds. They're not gonna, as a part of their support base, they're not gonna join a support group. Hope that makes sense. So when you're drawing up the blueprint, this is something you keep in mind. You write it down and you look at that blueprint and say, okay, this is where I am right now. Now I can go and I can start working my support base. because the support base is not just consisting of going to a counselor or a therapist. That helps, but it's not just that. So drawing up the blueprint is the first step to working a support base. I've done a few videos about that as well. So this is something that I did a long time ago. You know, at first I made the mistake of just jumping out there because as I was starting to share with you all before, I've had a couple of incidences whereas it was like, this is not a match. This is not going to work. So I had to go back to the drawing board. I was like, this is not going to work. And I was frustrated and I was a little sad about it, but I was mainly frustrated because when you think about the time and the energy that you put into, okay, healing, then you want to team up with somebody who gets what you're going through. All right. It should feel like a match. Again, just like dating. All right. So the next tool is draw up the blueprint to your support base. We just talked about that. So moving on to the next tool, return any unwanted energy. Absolutely. Return unwanted energy. We're all comprised of energy. Every last one of us. Okay. So when a narcissist and a cluster personality is tapping into your energy field, there's a thing called energy transference, meaning all of the emotions that you tend to feel and all the emotions that the narcissist tends to feel is doing a switcheroo, or they're merging. Okay. So the narcissist and the cluster personality, one of the emotions that they mainly feel and express is anger. Jealousy is another one. Okay. So that means, for instance, those two emotions, when you're dealing with him or her, the narcissist that is, you may start to feel those emotions yourself. When you think about it, you're like, you've never been a person who was prone to jealousy before. Okay. And now you're feeling a lot of jealousy. Anger. You may feel more anger now than usual. So you may have the before and the after picture when it comes to you. And you say, well, before I dealt with the narcissist, I wasn't prone to anger that much, but wow, I feel angry a lot now. Energy transference. The narcissist is comprised of energy and you are comprised of energy. So when you all get together, those energies or those emotions, they merge or they do a switcheroo. So the emotions that you tend to feel, which is gratitude, maybe it's joy. You tend to feel those emotions. You tend to express those emotions a little bit more easily. In other words, you can regulate your emotions, unlike the narcissist. So those emotions that you feel, such as joy and gratitude, the narcissist is going to tap into your energy field and extract that so they can feel better. Okay, so their false self-image grows big and strong. And what happens to you? You become a person who feels more drained. You're feeling tired. Okay, you're feeling maybe more angry. And you may be prone to jealousy more often now. Because again, the energy transference is taking place, which is a natural occurrence. You can't help it. If you're human, it's going to be energy transference. And we all have that energy transfer. We're all comprised of energy. So whenever we are dealing with other people, there it goes. Naturally and involuntarily, the energy transference is going to take place. So this doesn't exclude the narcissist. Okay. So the narcissist is going to be right there to feed. So whenever you think about when you're in a relationship with a narcissist and cluster personality, just even thinking about it, you may feel some anger. You may feel some sadness. Okay. So we can't help that. We're going to feel something. So when it comes to the narcissist and cluster personality, he or she doesn't know how to emotionally regulate. So that means they need to feed off of your energy field, and they have to feed off of other people's energy field because they can't maintain. They cannot sustain themselves. Okay. All right. So they can't do that. So they need other people's energy fields in order to maintain. In other words, they need other people to make sure that they're more energized, just like the battery. Okay. They're like that energy, the energizer battery. They cannot maintain alone. And when you really think about it, the narcissists, they are overly dependent on other people. Okay, so go figure. But anyway, due to energy transference, this is often why we feel, those emotions that are unpleasant. But when it comes to the stages of grief, just take small baby steps. Be willing to allow yourself to grieve. That's one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. Okay, next tool. Keep a journal and do your own research on narcissism before joining any support group that advertises providing support for narcissistic abuse, and beware of false advertisements. I was just talking about that. So keep a journal and do your own research. Reason for keeping that journal is because when you think about it, all of our lives are being recorded anyway. So this is one way that you can maintain your personal power, is to keep your own journal. And there's so many creative ways to keep a journal. You don't have to place pen to pad. You can record, literally pick up a microphone or pick up a tape recorder and start speaking. That's one way to keep a journal. It's just for you anyway. Or you can write it down. That's okay too. All right. But it's so powerful when you write it down. Write some of your desires down. How do you see your life now? How do you see your life in the future? But if I were you, I wouldn't go too much into the future, because right now is what's important. Okay. So right now, you want to make sure you do whatever you can to make sure that you're okay. Okay. Because the narcissist is not going to do that. The narcissist is not going to support you in your efforts to make sure that you thrive forward. And a lot of us already know this anyway. Okay, so next tool. Do not expect the healing process to occur overnight. Absolutely not. Because it's not going to occur overnight. It takes time, especially if you've been in the relationship with a narcissist for a long period of time. And now you've gone no contact, or now you're taking those small steps and you're contemplating on going no contact. This is not going to be very easy. And my heart goes out to you. I'm really, really rooting for you here, because I have some experience about going no contact. I have some experience about going low contact. Okay. I've been on both sides of the fence, low contact and no contact. Okay. And it's never easy, but with a little bit of time and some effort, it's worth it. Okay. So take those baby steps, and all the while, don't expect miracles, but do expect satisfying results. Okay. When you're putting in that time, you're putting in the effort, and you're working your support base, absolutely expect satisfying results. I would suggest never expecting anything less. Okay. Because this is your life. This is your overall well-being. The narcissists, actually, they don't have any room. Let me put it like this. They don't have any business being a part of your support base. Where would they fit? They're not interested. Okay. So when you're working your support base with people who will show that they know their stuff, okay, and that they understand, they have some understanding of what you've gone through. And not only that, they have some resonancy. Okay. You want to team up with people that you resonate with, not with people who don't get it. And not only that, they don't even appreciate your time. They don't even respect your time. For instance, say you go to a counselor, they're always late. You're on time, but they're late. Okay, some people have experienced that, by the way. But that's just an example I want to give about when you're screening people for who's going to be, you're screening people to be in your support base, because you're going to be navigating it. You're the one that's going to be running the show, because this is your overall well-being. This is your life. This is your healing process. It doesn't belong to the counselors. It doesn't belong to the doctors. It doesn't belong to the therapists, but you do want to team up with counselors, with therapists, with doctors, with mentors, life coaches, anyone that you can think of. You want to team up with those individuals who know their stuff. And not only that, they resonate with you and they really do care. All right. They really do care. They're not just there, twiddling their thumbs for 30 minutes to an hour. And they're not there just to pick up the paycheck or to try to boost their careers. Because sometimes you can tell that some of them are there just for that. They really, in other words, they don't really care sometimes. But there are a lot of practitioners and doctors out there who really do care. Okay, so those are the ones you want to sift out and find. All right. So you don't want to expect the healing process to occur overnight. You want to make it part of your lifestyle. Absolutely. And again, I talked about that. You can go out, just take small steps, pace yourself, and before you know it, you're able to have new experiences and to have great relationships with other people. Okay, people that you resonate with. All right. Okay, now these are some references and resources that's in the slide. Now, you can find this in the description box below as well. But I want to say something about the references and resources. Now, I went on and I there's a little bit more references and resources in this slide, because in a lot of my slide presentations, I'll go ahead and I'll put the references and resources. But in this one, it's probably going to take more than 15 minutes to go over. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone, but I want to encourage you to take some time out, okay, to go through these resources here, because what I've included in here is how you can start your own research when you want to start your support base, when you want to start looking for somebody to team up with, such as a counselor or a mentor. I've added that in this references and resources. Okay, so there's some links here that's going to help you start, because I know some of you right now, you're looking to start your support base. Okay, you're kind of tired of the rat race here, whereas you're going to yet another counselor, you're going to another person, and you feel like they're really not getting what you have gone through. They don't resonate with your experiences. So what I've added in the references and resources here today are links that will help you to at least start, okay, where you can start doing your research and you can start finding somebody that maybe will help you with your support base. So I've added that. There is one link in particular I really want you to pay attention to. Psychologytoday.com. This is what I did recently, and I'll share this with you all. I went online and I saw a whole list of counselors. And I went on and I picked up the phone and I called a few of these counselors. So what I want to encourage all of you to do is, when you pick up, if you should do this, if you decide to call any of the counselors or the therapists that are listed on that website, have a list of questions. Okay, you can do this before you call. Just have a list of maybe a couple of questions or 3 questions, ones that really are very important to you. And that can help you to determine whether or not that counselor will be a great match. It's not all that beats all, but it's a start. It gives you a clue to if this counselor or this therapist may be a great match for you or not. Now, I went on and I did this as a test run. Okay. And I did that. I went on, I called a few and I asked a few questions. And I have to tell you, there were a few that I gave a thumbs up. Okay. So I want to is at psychologytoday.com. This is one. Now I have several links here, but this is one link I really want you to pay attention to and do a little research. Because you can go there and you can find therapists who specialize in narcissistic abuse. Okay, so when you do that and you call, just have a few questions to ask them. Because again, I don't know your personal situation. So you want to ask certain questions, key questions. And if those questions are answered to your satisfactory, then that might be a thumbs up. Because what some of us have experienced is that we will go to a counselor, or we will go to a doctor, or we will go to a practitioner, a mental health care practitioner, or even a life coach or a mentor, just anyone that you can think of that you've reached out to in the past. Some of us have been very disappointed. One of the reasons is because the individual that we were confiding in was an individual, number one, who didn't have any personal experience about narcissistic abuse. Okay, so when you see, for instance, if you go to psychiatry, what is it again? Psychology.com. When you go there and you have the list of counselors and therapists, if you see that they specialize in narcissistic abuse, that's one of the things you want to look for. Because I did find that. But remember, I was talking about the false advertisement. Okay, now I'm not saying that any of these counselors or therapists are false advertising. What I am saying is we want to be realistic here. So when you're doing your research, and again, this is just a suggestion. When you're doing your research, you want to make sure that you have just a few key questions for him or her prior to starting your sessions. This is another thing I want to say. Some of the counselors that I saw on psychology.com, some of the therapists that I saw, they did offer consultations, free consultations. Okay, if any of those counselors, you read their bios, you read their treatment plans, because they have all of that laid out for you. Even before you call, you can look, you can see their bio, you can see what they specialize in. And I did see some of them, again, they specialize in narcissistic abuse. Those are some of the key words you want to look for, because not all counselors will know how to deal with a client who has been in a narcissistic abusive relationship. And that's just, that's the bummer. But some of the counselors now, they do specialize in narcissistic abuse. They have a treatment plan. you can read their bios and everything. So I really want to encourage, especially my stars, to set some time aside and write down your questions, or have your questions ready, because not all counselors are going to be able to answer those questions to your satisfactory. However, if they do answer your questions to your satisfactory, that again can probably be a thumbs up. And that may kind of have you write their name down and put their name on the list as a possibility. I also want to suggest not just going with one counselor. Try to find at least 3 that really is a thumbs up for you. And then you can do your screening, and then you can decide which one may be best for you. But like I mentioned before, some of those counselors, they did offer a free consultation. Okay, so that's a plus, because the way it's set up sometimes is that you would have to go, you have to see them first, and you have to dish out a little money. Okay, and then you find out they're not a match. So this is one of the reasons why I'm making these suggestions. This is just to help you out a little bit. Okay, because I've been there. I know what that feels like, to go to a counselor where it really isn't a match. Okay. All right. So I went on, and again, I listed those links for you. And right now, some of you may be looking at the presentation as I'm speaking, and you can see these links below. So this will help you to absolutely jumpstart your support base. But first, again, the first step to the support base is to draw up the blueprint. Okay, you want to make sure you find out where you are right now, what you can handle, and right now what you haven't built up a momentum for yet. And that's okay. We all have to pace ourselves. And I certainly hope that everybody so far is enjoying their holiday. And I want you guys and gals to ring in the new year better than you did last year, okay? I know I did my little shopping today, and later on I'm probably going to be doing some cooking and everything. So 2018, I already see it being a great year for me. Absolutely great. And I want you all to see that for yourselves too, because the narcissist is the last person that ought to be able to have some say in your life. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, really think about it. Is the narcissist really worth your livelihood? Think about it. What have they really done for you? Okay, some of you can think about it right now, but you're standing, you're here. So you can write the epilogue to your story. It may have started out a certain way, okay, but you don't have to finish the way you started. The narcissist and the cluster B personality, they like to tap into the energy field of others because he or she has already vowed, number one, not to love. Number two, they're not going to connect to anyone else. They have vowed not to do that. They have vowed to not personally grow. So their personal growth, in other words, is seriously impaired because they chose it. Okay? Some people say, well, the cluster B personality, due to their background, this is why they behave a certain way. Now, this may be true. And some of you do know the story behind the story to some of the narcissists and cluster B personality. That's all fine and good. But it doesn't take away the fact that this individual has treated you a particular way. They can't take it back. But what you can do is celebrate today and say, you know what? I'm here. 2018 is coming in, and it's going to be a better year than ever. And I'm going to do some things to make sure I live my life to the fullest. That's the gift that you can give yourself right now. Okay? Instead of going out to the mall or going out to the store, spending all your time and money on, these lavish gifts for the cluster B personality or the narcissist who doesn't care anyway. Okay? So give yourself a gift for a change, starting with grieving. That's a great gift. That's one of the best gifts anybody can give themselves, besides forgiving others. First, forgiving themselves and forgiving others. That can be seen as a gift too, to the self. But I want to encourage, especially my stars, this holiday season on into the new year, give yourself one of the greatest gifts that you can ever give yourself. And that is to allow yourself to grieve. The narcissist is not going to give you a gift. Not one that counts. Okay? So you can do this for yourself. Yes. Now, I want to go ahead and conclude this live stream because I really want to start cooking. I don't want to bore you all by keeping the camera on me as I cook. Some of you have complimented me on my kitchen, and I want to say thank you for that. Mwah. Yeah, I don't want you all to be bored as I'm cooking my black-eyed peas and my stewed tomatoes and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude today's live stream, and I'm going to try to get better with the live stream. I'm going to try to do more. Okay. Oh my goodness. I didn't do a live stream last month, so I hope my stars forgive me. But there's a lot that has been going on with me, and a lot of good things. So no worries. But I've been pretty late. Lately, I've been pretty busy, especially the last 3 months. And I just want you all to know that I haven't forgotten you. I think about you a lot. A lot of you reach out to me. The emails, some of you have had the chat with me, and it's a private chat, by the way. And I really appreciate that, because you really inspire me to continue to thrive forward. So I just want you all to know that, you know, I really am grateful for you. And I'm glad that this star channel, Luminous Star Channel, is just something that you find as a resource. But not only that, some of you have been sending me emails and letting me know just how much you are really touched by what I do. And I came close a couple of times to pulling the plug on this channel. And thanks to you all, I haven't done that. Okay, so we're growing. This community is growing. The Star family is growing. Okay, thanks to you all, and it's going to keep growing. So our community is very powerful. And I want to encourage all of you to continue to share your stories and to continue to tune in to this Luminous Star channel. I'm here for you. You guys seem to be here for me, and I'm loving it. 2018 is going to be the best. Okay. So having said all of that, again, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the live stream. And I want you all to know this Thursday. Now I did a video earlier today. Okay. So I try to do videos every Sunday and every Thursday. So I'm going to keep that going. So every Sunday and every Thursday, you can check out new videos. Okay. However, when it comes to the live streams, starting in 2018, my first resolution is to do more live streams. Okay. You heard it from me. And some of you, if you want to, send me the email. Send me an email and say, hey, when you going to do another live stream? I'm going to try to get better with this, with the live stream. But of course, every Thursday, every Sunday, I'm going to keep on delivering you guys quality videos. It just touches my heart to know that you guys really, really find Luminous Star Channel a great resource. So I'm going to join you guys in the chat room right now, and then we're going to conclude the live stream. All right. Hello, Susan. Happy New Year. DLX, how you doing? Happy New Year. Thank you for your donation, Susan. Jan, hello, Happy New Year. Connie P, thank you also for your donation. You sent me something a couple of months ago. Actually, no, it was last month. Mwah, thank you so much. Matter of fact, all my stars who send me donations. Mwah, mwah, thank you. Happy New Year. Hi, Nika. Special. Mwah, sis, I love you. Happy New Year. Also to the children, my nieces and nephews, big Happy New Year. All right. Now, also, if you guys and gals have any questions, I can take a couple of questions right now, but like I said, I'm a little hungry and I want to eat. I'm loving this time with you all. And I can go ahead and take a couple of questions right now if anybody has anything. If not, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this live stream and thank everybody again and say happy 2018, almost 2018. And I'll probably see you again in a couple of days because I'm going to start the live streams more often. All right. Again, happy 2018 to everybody. I'm Luminousz Star. Thank you for joining me today. And stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more live streams. Mwah.